I have a burning question to answer today. Hey guys. One of the questions I often get asked is, what brand is your electric furnace? Another similar question is there any good bargain furnaces I can buy? Well, I bought my electric furnace from Cousins in the UK, and it wasn't cheap, even though it does not have a manufacturer's brand on it. My guess has always been that these things are probably produced in China maybe, then shipped around the world with brand badges added on later. So a few weeks ago, I was very intrigued when a Chinese company contacted me saying they were setting up a web store selling all things metal casting related. I found the name a little strange, ToAutoTool.com, but I didn't care. It was new and it was metal casting. That's enough to make me happy. However, they made me even happier by asking if I'd like to review one of their electric furnaces. Initially, I wrote back saying, nah, postage would cost a fortune. It would never be cheap enough to interest my viewers. But they reassured me that wouldn't be the case. So I sat back and waited for a pile of junk to arrive. Actually, I was wrong. After removal from its well-packaged box, I was greeted with a fairly tidy looking unit. In addition to the furnace itself, there's a pair of gloves, one size does not fit all, the power cable, obviously, a pair of crucible tongs, a simple graphite mould, and 2 crucibles, which I'll come back to in a second. The furnace itself seemed compact and sturdy. It's certainly no worse in quality than the one I purchased from Cousins. In fact, a sneaky look at the ToAutoTool website shows one that is very similar to the one I bought from there. It's not exact, but it's close enough, I'd bet. It has a protective outer cover to discourage any passers-by from grasping the outside of a furnace burning 1000-degree metal. The hot end has a lid which pivots on a fairly crappy hinge, and though this sounds unkind, I guess it has to be loose to avoid expansion issues, and let me assure you, it's absolutely no worse than the one I bought from Cousins. This opens to reveal the heating chamber, which, to give it its technical name, is the hole where the crucible goes. Now, I mentioned crucibles, and this furnace comes with 2. One is too big. The other is too small. Well, okay, it works, but it's not ideal. I'd like to see a slightly wider collar on it. It's fine, but it's just a little looser than ideal. If you're wondering why this is, well, it's to allow for various sized crucibles. My cousin's furnace is a 4 kilogram model, and I can only fit large crucibles inside it. If I'm being 100% honest, for me personally, buying the 4 kilogram model was a mistake. When you're making small things like jewellery, especially on the amateur basis that I do, 4 kilograms is overkill. Quite honestly, a 1 kilogram crucible would be better for me. And that's the beauty of this furnace. It can cope with crucibles from 1 to 3 kilograms in size. So, 1 crucible is useless, though I guess I could always sell it on eBay, but luckily the other crucible works fine for me. Now, I have shared my findings with the company, and I'm hopeful that they'll make sure the right size goes into their next shipment. But if it doesn't, it really shouldn't be a deal breaker. The 4 kilogram crucibles are the most expensive, so the moths that live inside my wallet grumble whenever I buy one. But smaller crucibles are much cheaper and are available worldwide. Just take some measurements before you buy. The base is sturdy and solid metal, with 2 unfortunately plastic handles. I say unfortunate simply because I would have preferred metal. though the unit isn't really very heavy in truth. The switch is a classic rocker switch, reassuringly clunky and positive in use. The PID unit is clear, easy to use, and, I have to admit, pretty good. Honestly, I find this one much more responsive than the one on my cousin's unit. The top red digits represent the temperature inside the furnace. The bottom green digits represent the target temperature. This furnace has a maximum temperature of 1100 degrees Celsius or 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. You may think that's not hot enough, but do you know what? It actually is. Unless you're trying to melt iron, the chances are this will work fine for you. Overheating your metal can cause you plenty of problems, and as you'll see in a moment, I have no trouble melting bronze in this electric furnace. Programming is easy. Turn on the power and wait a few seconds. Once the display has settled down, click the Set button once. Use the up, down and side arrows to change the green digits to your target temperature. With that done, simply click Set once again, and the PID will remember that temperature even if the furnace is unplugged, though obviously you can change it at any time using the same process. So, let's see if it works. I found this Roman coin file the other day on CG Trader, and I thought I'd have a bash at casting it. The 3D print comes in at 3mm tall, and I've no idea if that's accurate, but I changed my scale to 25mm or an inch. I'm going to use ancient bronze casting grain as usual. That's better. That went well, and the castings look okay. You know, I can't tell you how tempting it is to bury these on a beach somewhere, then watch secretly as someone with a metal detector digs them up and gets very excited. You know, I'm pleased with these. They've come out okay. So this electric furnace clearly does its job, and in truth, I've used it a number of times now, with great success. Obviously, how long it will last, I can't say. But from now on, I'll use this furnace in my videos, so you can judge how it's doing for yourselves. So it looks the part, and it does the job. But what is the price? Well, it's pretty good, coming in at around $290 or £200 here in the UK. Shipping costs are obviously dependent on where you are in the world, but there are buying options too. If you're in the US, you can buy from Amazon. If you're in the UK, you can buy from eBay. And of course, everyone can buy from the ToAutoTool.com website. Now, I'm trying to wangle some discounts for my viewers, as is my way, so do check the description for links and codes. I can't make promises and discounts may be short-lived, but I will try for you. So, do I think this furnace is worth the money? Would I recommend buying it? Well, yes, I do, and I would. Frankly, it's not any better or worse than the one I paid a lot more money for from Cousins. We often shy away from what we think of as being cheap foreign brands on places like Amazon and eBay, and yet a lot of the time these are the exact same units we buy elsewhere, often with brand names glued on top. I'm not going to claim that this is a top quality tool that you'll pass on to your grandchildren, but it's a working electric furnace that melts most of the metals we normally melt, fits sensible sized crucibles, and is easy and responsive to control. Quite honestly, if I had bought this model instead of the one from Cousins, I would have saved myself the best part of £300 on price difference and probably half of that again on oversized crucibles. At least this unit saves money on your initial spend and gives you the option of bigger or smaller crucibles depending on your needs. Because of this, I'm happy to give it my thumbs up. I'll keep using it so you can see how it functions and ages. If you have any questions, as always guys, just drop me a line. So that's it for this video. Take care guys, and thanks for watching.